How's it going, guys? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another video. Of course, it's the beginning of 2021, so we're always going to do videos to reflect on the previous year. Basically, a week ago, I decided to do a new kind of video, and I wanted to do kind of like a community game awards of 2020, where I basically throw out to you guys some of the key awards on offer and let you guys in the comment section pick and choose the games that you think deserved to win. Quite a few of you commented, so thank you to everybody who commented in this video. To be able to make this video, I could not have made it without your contribution, and I just really enjoyed reading all of your comments, all of your thoughts on it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to announce the games that have won for each category in 2020. I'm going to do the same again next year, I think, but I might try and do it around the time of the actual game awards on the 10th of December, and maybe get some nominations going first. But yeah, I'm really enjoyed reading all your thoughts. So these are the N7 Community Game Awards for 2020. Well, quite a few of you voted here, and there were a lot of games that were mentioned. There were a lot of games that you guys talked about. In second place, we had Doom Eternal, which is a fantastic game. But the winner of the best action game of 2020 was Ghost of Tsushima. A very well-deserved winner. It won with 38% of the votes, and rightly so. Ghost of Tsushima has some of the best action in any of the games that came out last year. Its combat is fast, fluid, just really fun to get hands on with, and yeah, it was a brilliant action game, and it is a very well deserved winner. This one for me is a biggie because you all know I'm a massive RPG nut, so I was really interested to hear what your thoughts were. In second place, surprisingly, was Cyberpunk 2077, which, you know what, it does deserve a mention because obviously there's been a lot of bad press with the game, with the performance issues, the bugs, the glitches. They do exist, absolutely, they cannot be excused. You know, the game did release in an unfinished state, but I will say that what is there is really good. It has a great RPG mechanics, brilliant story, brilliant characters, amazing world, and that's why it came in second place. But unsurprisingly, in first place, the best RPG of 2020 with 63% of your votes was Final Fantasy VII Remake. I am so happy to see this win Best RPG of the Year. I agree with a lot of you. For me, this was the first Final Fantasy game that I played that just completely hooked me. I fell in love with the world, with the characters. It's a fabulous RPG. The new introductions that they made with all the RPG mechanics, materia, the mixture of turn-based combat with, you know, real-time combat as well. It's just fabulous, you know, it's so fabulous. And how they expanded upon the original game, because this is the opening like 5 hours worth of the original Final Fantasy VII. They really did flesh it out, and it just made me really excited to see where the franchise is gonna go, and I am ready for part 2 already. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, a very well deserved winner of Best RPG of the Year. I completely agree with the community on that one. So for this, there were two main contenders. In second place was Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which had 40% of your votes. But the clear winner for Best Multiplayer of the Year was Among Us, and this had 60% of your votes. Even though this game was not released in 2020, I think it came out in like 2018, really this past year, it's kind of massively grown. It became almost like an online phenomena, and I think a lot of that had to do with the pandemic. A lot of it had to do with you know, people being stuck indoors and having to shield and in the middle of lockdown. And it was a game that really allowed, you know, people to come together to socialize online, and it's a really fun game, and it's very simple, very basic in terms of its mechanics, but I can definitely see why it was the best multiplayer for many of you in 2020. This one was interesting. There were a lot of different contenders in this, but the winner in the end with 33% of your votes was The Last of Us Part 2. I'm kind of pleased to see that a lot of people in the community recognize this game. This game did get a very hard time because of some of the narrative and story decisions that it made that were very, very controversial. But I will say that the story, the writing, the direction, the voice acting, the music, everything in this story, it really does hit you here, and it really does leave a lasting impression on you. Whether that's good, whether that's bad, that depends on your own viewpoint. But I will say that The Last of Us Part 2 was an experience that did really stick with me this year, and I agree with many of you. I thought it was actually a really good story. I thought it did something really interesting, you know, in terms of the narrative and the way that the story was structured. I thought that was really bold. I thought it was a really bold narrative decision, and you know, you've got to give some credit to Naughty Dog for being that bold, for choosing to go that direction. But yeah, great story, and I can see why many of you recognized it this year, and why for you, for the community, it's the best story of 2020. For this, the clear winner with 75% of your votes was the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which does have an incredible soundtrack, utterly gorgeous. They took the original soundtrack and, you know, really sort of remixed it and modernized it, and it feels, you know, like the original soundtrack, but it's just different, it's new, and it's gorgeous. Beautiful music in the game that really adds a lot to the emotion and the storytelling. So yeah, I can absolutely see why many of you, this was your best soundtrack this year. The winner of that with 50% of your votes was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Again, a lot of you thought that was probably one of the most visually stunning games. I mean, the game is gorgeous. The facial animations, the facial capture is brilliant. The level designs, the locations that you go to are just, you know, jaw-dropping, you know, some of the set pieces. I was really surprised not to see Ghost of Tsushima higher up on this list, but maybe that's just because a lot of you didn't get hands-on with it. But still, you know, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a very, very beautiful, gorgeous-looking game. And I'm sure that Part 2 is going to just look just as amazing. Now, this is an interesting one this year. There's been a lot of actually really, really good indie titles, but the clear winner with 66% of your votes was, unsurprisingly, Hades. This game was fabulous. It's such a good game. I actually got it for Christmas, and I've been playing it on the Nintendo Switch. It does also have cross save, which is really awesome, so any progression I make on the Switch, I can actually transfer that progress to the PC. The game is only available on Switch and PC at the moment, but it's a fabulous game. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. This is from the team, the developers that bought us Bastion and Transistor, which Dante just utterly loves. And yeah, this game, it hooks you in, and it's a game that you just can't stop playing. And yeah, it's really, really fun, and that's why I can see definitely why it won Best Indie Game of the Year. I really enjoyed reading all of your impressions on things, and your experiences, but definitely the clear winner with 57% of the vote. A lot of you said that this year, you know, some of the gaming moments that made you laugh were a lot of things revolving around Cyberpunk 2077 and all of its numerous bugs, including some little funny Easter eggs that you can find in there, like Skippy the gun. So yeah, you know, you've got to have some sense of humor. It is heartbreaking that the game released in that way, but definitely some of the bugs, some of the glitches are really hilarious, and you know, you've got to see the humor in that. So yeah, definitely I think Cyberpunk 2077, I'm not surprised that for many of you, you know, there were a lot of moments in that game that just made you laugh out loud in 2020. And hey, I guess we all needed a little bit of humor last year, most definitely. there were so many different picks and choices in here that was really interesting. But the one that seemed to be coming up a lot was The Last of Us Part 2, but actually not the moment that I was expecting people to be talking about at the beginning of the game, but more the end of the game, where Ellie has a final conversation with Joel. It's really emotional, it's really well written, it's really well performed, the music is gorgeous, and it really does get you here. And I can see why for many it is one of the moments that really resonate with people and sort of make them emotional, make them cry. And I definitely felt it in that moment as well. So that was definitely a good pick. You know what? This category was interesting because there was not a clear winner in terms of which game people are most interested or excited about. And I found that really interesting. And I don't know if that's just a reflection of 2021, that there are so many games, coming out that cater to different tastes and different interests. But some of the notable mentions coming out, hopefully in 2021, that people are excited about, that you are excited about, are Breath of the Wild 2, which I myself am super hyped for, as is Dante, particularly after just finishing Breath of the Wild this year and also playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I'm really looking forward to the sequel. Of course, Ghostwire Tokyo was another mention. That game looks really interesting. I love the art style. The gameplay looks really intriguing as well. It's also a PlayStation exclusive, I think, so I'm really looking forward to picking it up and playing it on PS5. It's gonna look gorgeous. SMT Nocturne, and also Tales of Arise. There's a lot of JRPG, fans in the community, and that's really, really awesome. For me, I've never actually played any of the Tales games. I've never played any of the Shin Megami Tensei games either, but I've watched the footage and the trailers, and they do sound really, really interesting. And I definitely am interested to pick it up and try the games. I know Edge is a massive JRPG nut and keeps telling me to get into these franchises, and if you guys have any recommendations, let me know in the comments, because I will be definitely interested in checking it out. The next game people are excited for, of course, is Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the remaster of the trilogy, including all of the DLC. I am hyped to jump back into Mass Effect. It's my favorite franchise, and I can definitely see why for many of you it's got you really, really excited, and I'm looking forward to live streaming that without a doubt. We also have mentions of Hitman 3. I'm a fan of the Hitman series, and I do enjoy the sandbox nature of those games, where you can approach targets and assassinate people using different techniques and opportunities in the world, and that's really, really fun. I never got to play Hitman 2 or anything, so I don't know whether 3 is just a continuation on of that story, but it looks fun, and I'm sure for a lot of people it's going to be definitely a must play in 2021. Of course, we also have Hogwarts Legacy as well. I'm really excited, looking forward to that. I'm a massive Hogwarts nut, so it's kind of cool for me to see that there are people in my community that also love the world of Hogwarts and Harry Potter, and I'm really looking forward to a Harry Potter RPG. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to be in Gryffindor. It's going to have to happen. Please not Slytherin. Please not Slytherin. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So that's definitely a game worth mentioning. We also have Disco Elysium, the final cut, coming out next year that someone did mention they're excited for. And then, of course, a patched and fully playable Cyberpunk 2077. I know for many people they will have held off on Cyberpunk to wait for all these bugs and glitches to be smoothed out. Hopefully, CD Projekt Red are going to be hard at work to make that game playable, and hopefully, a lot of you will be able to pick it up in 2021 and play the game, the way it's designed. And it's a brilliant, gorgeous world, but it does have a lot of work that needs doing on it to make it, a playable state for some people, particularly on the older generation consoles. So lots of really interesting titles in there. But then finally, the big one, the daddy of all game awards. So this was really interesting. In second place was The Last of Us Part 2. But The clear winner this year with 50% of your votes was Final Fantasy VII Remake. That won Game of the Year on the community channel, and is a well-deserved winner. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. Gorgeous story, great characters, great music, visually stunning, gameplay is fun. Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10. It's such a gorgeous, gorgeous game, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, the next installment. I don't think we're going to get it in 2021, but I'm looking forward to learning more about it, and it is a definite deserved winner of Game of the Year for 2020 on the channel. So there you have it, guys. Those are all your picks for the Community Game Awards. I really enjoyed putting this together. I really enjoyed reading all your thoughts, and I want to do this again next year, and maybe we can get more people getting involved and more thoughts and more comments. That would be really, really interesting. But yeah, let me know what you guys would pick in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of the community choices. Do you agree? Do you disagree with them? What are your thoughts on it? Please share those in the comment section below. Of course, I'm going to be back later on at the end of this week with my top 10 games of 2020 and my most anticipated games of 2021. So please look forward to those. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. Of course, take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.